Welcome to the Tailored Summary Overview with the Ready Access Portal and the Site Management Portal. Literature locations for tailored summaries can be found in the Product Literature internal site on the portal, as well as in Quicklist. And don't forget about the online help, which is also available to you. Objectives of this video include operating the Ready Access Portal interface with tailored summaries, as well as graphics. Also operating the Site Management Portal interface with tailored summaries and global modify. And finally, to describe the development of a tailored summary using the summary definition objects as well as user views. So let's get started. We will start the tailored summary overview video with a demonstration of the Ready Access Portal. I'll log into the portal, and as you log into a Ready Access portal, the default screen is the dashboard, and as you can see, nothing is defined in the dashboard just yet. Also, we have a blinking red light here for alerts, which means we have an alarm pending that needs acknowledgement. But what I'm going to show you is summaries. When I click the Summary button, a list of user views that are defined in the site director are listed here. I'm going to go to the HVAC user view and click on this user view here under HVAC with the folder name VAV Boxes VMA 1400s. This is actually a tailored summary, and what I'm going to do is click here to compress the left pane. There we go. Later what you can do is click over here to expand it again to find a different user view that you want to browse out to. But I'll put it over there so I have more room. What we're looking at right now is a tailored summary as displayed in the Ready Access Portal. The display that we're currently looking at, this is the name of the tailored summary, Monitoring VMA 1400 VAV Boxes. And the formatting of this screen here, what we're looking at right here is 2 points. One's discharge air temperature and the other is the digital controller itself. And underneath here are the VMAs. So what we're actually looking at, this controller here is an FEC controller that is controlling a VAV fan system. And in that fan system there are a number of VMAs, and that's what this first column is. Inside each of those VMAs are points that we want to monitor. So what we're looking at right now are zone temperature, supply air temperature, here's the set point, flows, and flow set point. These are the values that are coming from all of these VMA controllers. So as we're looking at this tailored summary, we can see that the key points, if I hover on top, this tells me that it's the AHU-3. This is under the NCE. In fact, I noticed it said, let's see if I can get that tooltip back again. No, we'll try this one. Here's the discharge air temperature. That's on that FEC controller, which is actually the local controller in an NCE. Here we go. Let's take a look at this. So I can see right here that it says local application. That's telling me that it's probably an NCE that is using its internal MSTP controller for the main controller for the fan system. Over on the left side here, inside the summary table, this is a column for zone temperatures. Now if I hover on this 73 degrees here, there's the value. And in the tooltip is the full reference, so I know exactly where this point is coming from. If I left click on that, I get the ability to do a set value as an adjust command, what we normally call adjust when we work with the Site Management Portal. And hold and remove hold would be your override and release override priority that we usually use in the site management portal. So a left click allows you to send commands. Inside this wrap server, if I right click on it, it gives me the normal Internet Explorer options. So right clicking doesn't allow me to do any Metasys functions, only the left click. Speaking of Internet Explorer, with the wrap server, one of the shortcut keys that Microsoft has given us is the F11 key. The function F11. When I select that, which I will now, what it does is it expands your Internet Explorer window, fully showing the display. If I move my cursor up, I can get back to the menus, as well as there's a back button here. So that's one way of getting to a back button when you're in the wrap server, the Ready Access portal, and you've maximized the view. So if I look at other things that are found here, this icon right here is actually a view graphic icon. So if I click on that, what it does is it goes out and gets the graphic that's associated, probably aliased, with that VAV box. In the Ready Access portal, there's also some navigation functions that allow us to control this graphic that we're looking at. For example, this button right here allows me to zoom in and out. The center button is actually a fit to window, so that puts it back to normal. So if I am in the zoom mode, I can move to the left or right. That's what these buttons allow me to do, or up and down. There's a hand button here, and if I just hover on it, it says turn on panning. So that allows me to actually move the graphic the way I want with the mouse. I'll come over and turn that off. This is a zoom mode, so if I come over here and just left click over the heating coil, I zoom in. So I'll come back to the navigation pane, turn off zoom mode, and then go back to fit to window, gets me back to normal. In the lower left-hand corner is if I want to move this navigational pane, I can put it somewhere else. And this top left-hand corner is collapsed to upper corner, so what that does is it puts the navigation pane and kind of hides it, you might say. And I can come back over here and reproduce it so that I can do my navigation on the graphic. So now I'm in this graphic, I can zoom in and out and move around. How do I get back? With the back button. One procedure would be to move the mouse all the way up on top. Since I'm in this full screen mode, I can use this back button. If I right click on the graphic, you can see it produces this dialog box here called Silverlight. Silverlight is actually a program from Microsoft, which is what we're using now in Release 5 of Metasys in the wrap server to display a graphic. So the right mouse button doesn't work when you're right-clicking on top of a graphic. So if you move off the graphic, say in this title bar right here, if I right-click, now I get the standard Internet Explorer commands, and you can see back is there, which will then take me back to the tailored summary. Because that's how I got to this graphic to begin with. Okay. If you recall when I logged into the Ready Access portal that there was no dashboard, in the Ready Access portal there's a button over here, and this says click to update the dashboard definition. So I'm going to click on that, and here I can choose the users that will get this tailored summary as their dashboard. So I might make Metasys SysAgent and choose other names here, other users that would get this view as their dashboard, so that when they log in, this is the first thing they see. So this might be critical for those users. If I left click on the column rows, you can see it turns on a small sort icon. So let's see, let's look at flow here. I'll sort by flow. And you can see 88 CFM, and as it scrolls down, it gets larger until I get to the one that's offline. So if I click the flow rate again, it just changes the sort from larger to smaller. And now I start at the 264 CFM. So there's sorting capabilities then in the Ready Access portal, which makes it pretty easy then to move around. If I needed to command anything, so like here's the set point at 72, I could left click, and if I make that an override, and I'll put 74 degrees Fahrenheit, hit the submit button, that point is now an override. The color changes appear as they are defined in preferences. And if I hover over the point, you can see right here that it does say operator override, so that I know that it's an override as well. So if I wanted to release the override or take it off of hold, I left click again to bring up the change value dialog box. The type of value I want to change is the remove hold, so that I remove this override. So if I was in the site management portal now, that point would have actually said operator override, and then release operator override was how I could do it. Okay, what I'd like to do is bring back the main left pane over here, because this is where we look at our user views that are defined in the site management portal, because I might want to look at the VAB boxes for the VMA 1600s. So if I click on that, you can see in Internet Explorer, the bar on the bottom goes right to that. So here's how I can then find out what I'm looking at. So now I'm looking at the VMA 1600s. Also, I'm going to show you the button that's right there. That arrow there, that arrowhead, indicates that there's another option for me. So inside this user view, I actually have 2 or more tailored summaries. So when I click on that, you can see the arrowhead pointing down now. So I get to choose another tailored summary. The first one here was called monitoring, and that's where I was looking at flow rates and set points. Well, if I choose configuration for the VMA 1600s, I'm going to launch a new tailored summary to give me configuration information, more like balancer type information. Here's the box area, pickup gains, the K factor, flow rates, and then these would be my set points. If I need more room to get that, if I hover on top, there it says cooling max flow set point. So by navigating through these user views, if they have a tailored summary associated with a user view, that's what opens up. Okay, what I'm going to do is log out of this wrap server and hit the F11 so that I can bring back my full Internet Explorer screen. Minimize that. And now I'm going to go to the Site Management portal. Here's where the information for the wrap server comes from. I'm on the site director because one of the key features of using a wrap server are user views. So here we have the user views defined. What I'm going to do first, though, is, well, I will go to that user view, and I'll double click on it. And you can see I have a number of folders in this user view called HVAC. So if I actually, let me clear this. If I actually go to the HVAC user view tab, these folders contain either objects like normal user views or the new tailored summaries. Well, I was showing you earlier in the Ready Access portal the VMA boxes for 1400. So I'm going to click on this folder, double click on that folder, and that brings it up into the display area. What we're going to see here is identical information that we saw in the Ready Access portal. If you recall, the Ready Access portal does not require a Java installation. It's strictly an HTML application. Here in the Site Management portal, we do require Java to log into Metasys so that we can do any editing or definition of the database that the customer is using. So this is a tailored summary. I even have the familiar tabs up on top here. Here's tailored summary. These are the monitor VMA 1400 points. So what I see down here are the points that are in the VMAs that are coming from that digital controller for the air handler unit. Now I'll show you how that gets defined here in a little while. But inside these VMAs then are all these points. So there's zone temperature, set point, supply air temperature. Here's the set points, flows, and flow set point. Key data elements are over here. So these would be like common or critical values, points that you want always to show as you're working down over here in the table. If I click on the configuration tailored summary, I get the information that would be used by the balancer, my box flow test, or box area, pickup gain, flow values, set points are all shown here. Here's the link again that we saw in the Ready Access portal. That was to the graphic. So if I double click on that, that brings up the graphic associated with that VMA controller. Now to get back again, an easy way to do that would be to use the back button right here in our site management portal. As far as commanding points, let's go back to the monitoring again, because I want to just show this on one of the set points. So here's 72 degrees, looks like data's coming in. There we go. So if I left click, I just highlight the point. If I double left click, still highlight it. Here, the right click is a function, whereas in the Ready Access portal, it was the left click that gave us the command feature. Here, it's the right click. As in standard Metasys for extended architecture, we can view this object directly now. So if I click the view, that actually takes me to the focus tab of the object, which is the common set point. So I'll hit the back button, right click again. I could view that point then. I could also command it. I can modify some of its parameters very easily here, work with annotations, and even show extensions for that object, because I might be trending it or setting alarms on it. So the right click function gives us a lot of capability to do commands. If I highlight more than one of these using the control key or drag my mouse down, if I right click, now I can do commands or modify parameters for all of these highlighted points. So this would be like a global command. If I wanted to set, move this over a little bit here. So if I had these set points from those VMAs, highlighted them, I can actually execute global commands here and do an adjust or an override to all of those points inside those VMAs. If I right click and do a modify, here's where I can modify certain parameters for all those points inside those VMAs. So I just check what I want to change, make a change to it, and then send it out. So global command, global modify commands are available when you have more than one point selected. Okay, what I'm going to do next is go to the All Items tabs. So far I showed you how a tailored summary looks in the Ready Access portal, how it looks in the Site Management portal. Well, let's see a little bit more about how this was created. Where is the source of all of this information? So we'll go to the All Items tab. And the first place I want to go is the HVAC user view, because that's the source for the Ready Access portal, and it's also where we clicked on to go into the Site Management portal to find that tailored summary. So we were studying this one here called VAV boxes. If I expand that folder, what I see here then are these two entries. These, by looking at the icon, I can tell that icon is a tailored summary icon. Therefore, these are the two tailored summaries that were in that user view. the points that was in those summaries, that like the zone temperature and those set points, they had to come from a parent object. And that's what we find underneath here. These here are the VMA controllers that's providing the point values that are in the tables, in those columns that are in the tailored summary. So this and this are two tailored summaries, and then these are the digital controllers. Now if I hover over VMA 11, I can see that it's found on this NAE, on that trunk, and there's the actual identifier of the device. So this is the full reference of that controller. If I just hover over here on this one, monitoring, I find where it's located. So it's on this site. Here's the location called summary defs. This is the identifier, and then this is the actual tailored summary. So this is the one that I'm really interested in, called summary defs. So if I come back over here, and if I hover on this folder, you can see here's summary defs that are underneath the site object. So that's where we find this here folder called summary definitions contains the tailored summary. So that's where we find those defined. And of course all the VMAs, well, they're underneath our NAEs. And then the user view is what links all of this together. So let's look at summary definitions. I'll double click that. If I go to summary, here are all the contents. These are all the tailored summaries. I could have expanded the +2 here if I wanted to see that. So these are the tailored summaries that are in the folder called summary definitions. We were looking at a tailored summary called monitoring VMA 1400. So if I right click and select view, that would open it up. Or I can come over here and double click this, and that also opens it up. So this is the definition for this tailored summary that the user view displayed to us. So we had to create that user view, that link to a tailored summary, and this is how it's done. These tailored summaries that you see here are all part of a standard template series that will come out with the product. So these are all common pre-built templates. Of course, you also have the ability under Tools, under Insert, to create your own system summary definition instead of using the ones that are already predefined. So you can make your own or use a template. Looking at this one, let's see what we have here. This is the label that will appear in the first column when we display the user view for the tailored summary. And then what you see here are all the other columns for the points that are coming from the parent object. This is the heading that we gave that column, zone temperature. We were looking at set points and commanding them. And then these would be the child objects that we would be looking for and bringing in their values, their default values. Or the default here is present value. So if you wanted to, you could actually select it present value. So if I hit the edit button, I could come down over here. I could browse to different points, maybe give it a name up on top, and then select what attribute I want to bring in. If you keep default, that will bring back the present value. But I could always click this button, and there's some filtering for all of the different attributes, and you can see default is chosen as default. But I could also bring back present value, categories of objects if I wanted to look at what their categories are. Extremely powerful and flexible. I can add and delete columns. There's some instructions here. Of course, the documentation explains all of these entries and what this all means. So this tab here is for defining your individual columns. This is the label for column number 1. What you don't find in this tab are the key data points. Key data is found under the Focus tab. And I'll hit the edit button so we can look at this a little better. And here are the two pieces of key data that were part of this tailored summary. And if you recall what we were looking at, we were on the local application's discharge air temperature, and then we actually wanted to see the local application, which would be the internal MSTP controller of an NCE. And then, if you recall, it said online. So our MSTP controller is online. We're looking at the discharge air temperature. And this is where you build the key data that's displayed in your tailored summaries. I'll cancel that. So of these two tabs, the Summary Definition tab defined the columns. The Focus tab defined the key data that's also found in the top right-hand corner of our tailored summaries. So Summary Definitions folder is where we actually build the templates that are going to be in our tailored summaries. And then we go into the user views and we look at that. So I think what I'm going to do is go to two panels, and I'm going to go get the definition. I'm going to drag this one up here, and I'm going to drag this one down here. Oh, wait, let me go and actually get the user view itself, because I want to bring in the template. There we go. So now what we're looking at, this is the definition for this tailored summary. These are the rows defined, right? They're the rows. And the word controller here is the label for the parent objects. And the key data, that came from the Focus tab. So here's the key data. So here's key data that shows up down here. And the name of the summary definition is called Monitoring VMA 1400. That's the name given, and that's what shows up as well as here. Now if you notice, there's another one. There's another tailored summary here that's in this user view. So if I click on that, now I'm looking at a different tailored summary. So inside this user view here, if I expand this, so the user view itself, VAV boxes, VMA 1400, actually uses two different tailored summaries that the operator has access to. So if I go back to my All Items tab, Summary Definition, scroll down, I should have, let's see, if I look at this one here called Configuration VMA 14 Flow is this one right here. So the template is defined, the user view is linked. When you create a user view, you link it to as many tailored summaries as you want, and the parent objects are in the user view. And then you display the user view tab so that you can see the defined tailored summaries. All right, this concludes kind of an introduction on how you would see tailored summaries in the Site Management Portal, as well as over here in the Ready Access portal.